Basel III is a comprehensive set of regulations that allow for risk weighting of capital to encompass a risk understanding and to quantify risk. Two of the key components of Basel III are to require financial institutions to have on their balance sheet better and more quality capital and better and more quality liquidity. It also requires an understanding of integrated and actionable strategic and capital planning. Basel III will literally change the banking business model fundamentally and substantially. I speak to banks of all sizes throughout the country quite frequently. I hear a great deal of community banks and smaller regional banks tell me that Basel III is not an issue for them because they're extremely well capitalized. Well, first of all, they say that without, in many cases, having run the Basel III calculator. The risk weightings under Basel III are radically different than anything that we've seen in the past. So we need to make that assessment before we really can say we're well capitalized. Secondly, capital adequacy is best determined not by regulatory capital ratios. Regulatory capital ratios are merely the ante into the game, the base minimum requirement. The true measure of capital adequacy in today's banking world is economic capital measured in a customized way for each specific financial institution that considers all risk elements, from credit to liquidity to operational, all risk elements, stress tested over the full probability spectrum from likely to possible to probable. It's the only true measure of capital adequacy. Risk-weighted Basel III compliance, step one, fundamental, ante into the game, economic capital adequacy is the apex. That's where we should be going. That's what we should be holding ourselves accountable to. Boards of directors have an important role in Basel III and in capital and strategic planning in general. Boards of directors must, first and foremost, draw the lines on the playing field that outline what risk is acceptable and, within acceptance of that risk, what returns they expect the financial institution to earn. That's their first role. Their second role then is also to understand how the strategic and capital plans are actually driving the decision-making of the organization, how they're driving risk allocation, resource allocation, as well as the tactical actions of the organization. The other thing that the boards must understand is their role in stress testing and scenario planning. Because there's not just one view of risk and there's not just one acceptable view of the future. We must, through stress testing and scenario planning, look at all potential outcomes and their impact on capital, from those low probability events to high probability events. Board of directors must frame some of those scenarios and stress tests, and they must understand the results of them. And finally, I think the board of directors must be instrumentally involved in right-sizing the capital of the institution, making sure that always the capital properly aligns with the risks assumed by the banking business model, and making sure there is neither too much nor too little. I advocate the Goldilocks school of banking. Just right capital, fit for each institution on a customized basis. Basel III should be foremost in every board of directors' mind. They should be asking management two things. They should be asking them for education. Either the executive team provides or they bring in an outside consultant to give the board a short 1 hour, 2 hour at most overview of Basel III. But not just what the regulations require, but also what the implications to their banking business model and their strategy are resulting from Basel III. What will the impacts be? The second thing boards must ask tomorrow is, has the executive team run the pro forma calculations for their Basel III capital compliance? And where do they stand in terms of their capital level today with the Basel requirement? That is a question that should be answered first and foremost right now. So it's a two-step questioning process that should begin literally at the next board meeting.